Hello, Bay Area, and welcome to this week's edition of the Big Money Show, brought to you by the team of Big Financial Services. I'm your host, Kristen Oakley, and joining me in the studio is Glenn Cummings. He is the president of Big Financial Services, which is based right here in the Tampa Bay area. Glenn, my friend, it's a great week to be back in the studio with you. How are you?
It is sure great, and I tell you what, I mean, to think that we both have close to the same outfit today. You know, I didn't expect this. I'm so happy.
We didn't even coordinate,
Didn't even coordinate, but yeah, this is such a blessing. Thank you. Thank you.
Well, on the same wavelength for sure. And
Yes.
I know we share a passion for financial education. That's what this show is really all about, is educating and empowering people so that they can make better decisions with their hard-earned money.
Absolutely. Absolutely.
Okay.
Every single day.
For sure. Well, we've got another great show for you this week. We're going to be talking all about retirement income. It's been said that someone's success in retirement isn't so much dependent on how much money they've been able to accumulate over their lifetime, although that does play a factor, but rather their ability to take that lump sum and turn it into a reliable, steady, ongoing stream of income that's going to be able to last you for the rest of your life. And this is something that really sets you and the team of Big Financial Services apart, is that you specialize in retirement income planning. Talk a little bit about your expertise in that area and why you chose to focus in on that.
Absolutely. Well, none of us want to continue to work. I mean, you know, it's so funny. I meet with retirees all the time. I call them retirees, but some of them aren't retirees at a later age. They're retirees at an earlier age. Actually met a couple a little while back, came into the office, and 52 years old and 53 years old.
Okay.
And they had come into the office and they really didn't have a lot of savings. But boy, they had huge pension payments every single month. And they were so large, I was just in shock. And they said, Glenn, I'm sorry, we don't feel like we have enough money to work with you, but they have all this income coming in, and they were very happy. I mean, their lives were incredible. You know, they were able to travel, they were able to do all the things they wanted to do. They weren't nervous, they weren't in fear, and they just loved their lives. They had all this income coming in, and the next couple came in and they had a substantial amount of money saved, but they were always in fear of how much money should they take out of their investments, and are their investments going to run out? They didn't have an actual income plan set in place. And their lives were completely different. They had so much darn money, but they just didn't know how to spend it. They didn't know how to enjoy it. They didn't know if they were going to run out of money. And one of their main things was, I said, well, geez, you have enough money here. You could take a little bit more income if you'd like.
Right.
But our advisor tells us we could run out. You know, and that's what this advisor had sold those clients upon. So sat down, we did all kinds of comprehensive planning for them, and they're blown away as well. So we like to share different ideas, different plans. We'll give you 2 or 3 different ideas, let you take it home, let you look it over. You know, and let you kind of say, hey, I really like this one the best, you know, or I like this one the best, or this one gives us more income now to where we can enjoy ourselves. There's another one that I call the one where the family gets nothing at the end, okay?
Right. I want the last check to bounce, right?
Yeah, that's my best plan of all, because, you know, if you can actually know your kids are going to be okay, you know, a lot of us have kids that are financially okay, or they're going to get the house when I go, or some life insurance. But my money, I want to spend it in retirement. And I don't want anything being left over. You know, whatever's left over is not good for me, okay? So I want to just enjoy myself. And really, the early years of retirement are the most important years to enjoy yourself, because that's when your health is good.
Yes.
And in a lot of cases, I see folks that just haven't been able to enjoy their retirements. So they come in, they visit with us, and we do different types of planning that they've never seen or never were aware of. And it changes people's lives in a lot of cases. Yeah. So that income planning, making sure you never run out of that income, is very important.
You know, it's so life-changing. I love those 2 stories that you shared, and I have typically found that when folks don't have a solid retirement income plan in place, usually one of 2 things happens. Either they're overspending, which then, yes, they are running the risk of running out of money, but I think even more tragic is that second story you shared, folks who have enough money, it's there, but they're afraid to spend anything, especially during the years when you're physically, you know, your body is in good health and you can go and do the things that you've been dreaming about and wanting to do, but people don't spend the money because there's that fear that they're going to run out. I mean, that happens a lot.
Yeah, and there's always a constant fear because a lot of folks have a lot of their money in the stock market. I call it the largest casino, right? We don't know if the markets are going to be up one day or down the next. You know, we don't know when another 2000 is going to come in or another 2008.
Yep.
You know, we don't know what can happen, and there's little triggers that can happen out there that we may want to look at alternatives, and there's a lot of different alternatives available out there. But yeah, income planning, having a written plan and following that plan and looking over someone's overall comfort level with risk, Kristen's very, very important. A lot of people just don't like all the risk, you know?
Right.
So there's other types of plans that we can look at there. It could just be, you know, a CD in a bank paying a few percent right now. The CDs are great right now. It could be some bond portfolios. It could be some annuities. You know, there's all different types of annuities out there. You know, someone said to me the other day, oh my gosh, an annuity, I've heard those are horrible, right? And I said, well, hang on a second. You have a monthly pension, it's paying you a few $1,000s a month, right? Oh yes, well, that pension's actually an annuity. You know, it's a guaranteed, it's a guaranteed lifetime income the rest of your life, and they never thought of it that way.
Right.
So it's important to look at every option that may be available out there, and I call those baskets. You know, there's different baskets, places we can invest our money. It could be real estate. You know, I have a lot of clients that are doing very well, you know, with passive income from real estate. So lots of different ways to look at planning for retirement, and when you build it into a plan, which is what we do, we're going to have that real estate if you have it included. We're going to have those annuities included. We're going to have that money you have in the market included. We're going to look at taxes and how we can reduce those, because income and retirement, if you're taxed heavily on it, that doesn't go in your pocket. You know, that goes to the IRS's pocket, and we all want to reduce what goes to the IRS. I believe most of you out there do. So these are the kind of things we do. We plan, we take our time, and you know, the other thing that's really, really important, a lot of people don't realize as well, is the cost of reality of care if we get sick, right? And this is something that I've dealt with for a number of years. My mother-in-law, my father-in-law, my mom, you know, I dealt with all of my family members getting sick, and the majority of the cost I paid for. And it was very upsetting because they never really planned to get sick, and they all had money, but then when they got sick, the money went very, very quickly. I saw my father-in-law, 4 years of cancer, go through all of his life savings, and upon him passing away, there was nothing left for my mother-in-law, and then she had 4 years of Alzheimer's, right? So, and we took care of her all the way from beginning to end, nursing care, everything in our homes. And that was a very difficult thing. And one thing we never want to become is a burden on our family or a burden on our kids, right? So, you know, planning for those kind of things that could happen in the future. You know, there's a very high percentage of us, unfortunately, that are going to get sick when we get older. We don't just, you know, go to sleep one night, God takes us home. That's the way I hope I go, right? So I'm praying today, just take me peacefully, right? But that usually doesn't happen. So if you have prolonged sickness, that's very difficult on families, and it's very, very expensive. And the costs are doubling about every 10 years.
And that's why people are so afraid of running out of money, is for these costs, but they're also unknown. For example, long-term care, you don't know if you're going to need it or not, right? I mean, that's what makes that part of the retirement income plan so challenging.
Absolutely, because out of nowhere, if you get sick or your spouse gets sick, you've got to help cover those costs. So part of our process is looking over all of those aspects. And I know you had mentioned also, you know, legacy planning as well, and that's something that's very important.
Absolutely. Well, so much goes into building a comprehensive, holistic financial plan. I know this is what you specialize in doing. This is what you love doing for folks day in and day out. And you want to share that with our viewers today as well.
Absolutely. Let's give them the number to call.
For sure. Well, if you would like to get started in building your own complimentary written financial plan, this is for no cost, no charge, no obligation. It's simply an invitation to have a conversation with Glenn and the team of Big Financial Services to see how they can help and serve you and put this plan together for you. So we invite you to pick up the phone and call that number on the bottom of your screen, 888-503-7408. Or if you have your smartphone handy, you're welcome to pull it out. If you open up that camera app, you can point, click, and scan that QR code that you see there down in the bottom right-hand corner of your screen. That will take you over to a landing page, ask you a few short, simple questions, and then a member of the team from Big Financial Services will reach out to connect with you to schedule your complimentary meeting that way as well. Don't go anywhere. We've got a lot more to cover on today's important conversation of building your retirement income plan right after this.
As a good saver, you've been putting away money during your working years. Studies find that the biggest fear of retirees is running out of money. Market volatility isn't just the downward movement of stock prices, it's the size and frequency of change. The more dramatic the ups and downs, the higher the volatility. This can put savers who are newly retired or a few years away from being retired at greater risk. Today's generation of retirees is not receiving traditional pensions as our parents or grandparents did. Instead, we have retirement accounts such as 401ks or 403bs. These accounts typically expose your money to market risk. The last thing you want right before retirement is to lose a portion of the money you need for income. But how do you turn these accounts into a retirement income? Is it safe to keep all your retirement money sitting in the stock market? The last thing you want is to lose a portion of the money you need for income due to market loss. By working with a financial professional, you can learn how to turn a portion of your savings into an income stream for life and income for the life of your spouse if you're married. We all have moments in our lives when we wish we had taken action sooner. Don't let procrastination reign on your retirement parade. Act now before it's too late. Please call our office to set up your no-cost, no-obligation retirement income review today.
Welcome back to the Big Money Show. I'm your host, Kristen Oakley, here with Glenn Cummings, president of Big Financial Services, and a great conversation we are having today all about building a solid retirement income plan for yourself. And Glenn, I love you have such a wealth of stories. You've done this for so many folks. Yeah. And no two plans are alike, right? They're all individual, all customized. Talk a little bit about that.
So you are so correct, though. It's like no individual plan is the same with all of us out there.
There's no cookie cutter approach, right?
There's no cookie cutter approach. It's very important to get different financial plans, different ideas from different advisors. And we're not always the best. But I say we're the best. Okay, I'm just kidding. But no, there's some great financial advisors out there. I learn from a lot of them as well. But the main thing when you come in our office, what to expect. Number one, when you come to our office, you're welcomed, okay? And you have a nice little welcome with your name on it. That's kind of nice. A fresh cup of coffee is right there for you. You know, and that's one thing I love, a fresh cup of coffee. Yes. And I shouldn't have too many cups in a day, though, or I get a little excited. Right. But, so have a fresh cup of coffee. We sit down, have a beautiful office, have a nice big screen. It's all covered by oak trees outside. And we sit down and we talk. And the main thing I like to do is listen. And that's where a lot of you have a difficulty dealing with your current advisor. They tell you what you need to do. You know, they put themselves up here and put you way down here. And that's not a good thing to do. You want to have someone that can actually listen to you. What are your goals? What are your needs? What are your concerns, right? And a lot of times, really what I do is marriage counseling, including finances, because, you know, I have the husband that is trying to save, you know, and the wife's like, honey, why don't we get that new car? You know, well, we can't afford it. Our advisor says we'll run out of money or this or that. So in a lot of cases, it's you're sitting down and we do financial counseling basically, but I listen to what people have. I listen to what their concerns are, and then we address those in our planning, you know, and a lot of our planning tools are in full written, you know, formats for you. So we give you a lot of stuff to take home and review and read and educate you on it. This is not that difficult of a business, you know, as long as you have someone that's willing to sit down with you and share with you what's available. And man, it's such a blessing. It really is. I just love working with people, and I believe this is what I'm here to do, is to help people.
Your calling, right?
It's my calling, it is, and we're so excited to finally be here in Tampa Bay. I know there's probably a few advisors out there that aren't too happy that Glenn finally got on TV. I'm going to reach more folks out there. They're probably not going to be too happy, but so hopefully I answered your question. It may have gone off a little deep end there.
Well, just to dive a little more deeply, you know, I've worked as a financial educator. I've had the privilege of traveling nationwide, presenting on a lot of different financial topics. And one of the hesitations I think sometimes folks have about doing something like coming in for a complimentary plan is they're nervous. They don't know what kinds of questions they're going to be asked. They might be
Sure.
afraid that they don't know the answers to those questions. So I know you said you like to ask a lot of questions and you do a lot of listening because you want to find out what's important to them. What are some of the kinds of questions that you do ask?
How can I help you? I mean, it's literally that simple. How can I help you today? And usually people will just start to tell me, I'm concerned with this, I'm concerned with that, I've got this, this account that I'm concerned with all the risk, and I'm nervous with the markets, and I literally just start to type away, and I have a big screen and I have all the little questions I ask, but I just have a thing called notes and I just go to town. Whatever people's concerns are, we just take our time and we go through it. And understanding what the clients want and need is what a fiduciary is required to do. We're required to look over what people have, answer their questions, and a lot of times, like you said, it is a situation where sometimes people will come in and they just say, Glenn, I really don't have all my statements, or whatever, and a lot of times we'll help them get those statements on their phones or whichever, and then we'll evaluate everything. It's not your responsibility to know everything in this business. It's our responsibility to keep it very simple, make sure you understand what we're looking at for you and some of the risks that you may have in your retirement, and seeing if there are solutions.
I love that, and that it's a judgment-free zone, right?
Judgment-free.
Because everybody has a different idea of what they want their retirement to look like.
Yeah.
But your job is to figure out what they want to do, and then it's telling you what you can do. It's almost giving people permission, right?
Yes.
You're going to be okay. Here's the plan.
Yeah.
You can spend that money. You can buy that car, go on that trip. That's got to be
Yes.
so rewarding and satisfying.
Yeah, I had a client came into the office, had saved and saved and saved, and one of my questions to him was, hey, what's your ultimate dream car? And he said, a new Corvette. I said, that's great. I said, so why don't you start looking for one? And his wife looked at him kind of funny, and he looked at me funny, and he said, what do you mean? I said, well, this income planning we've done, here's some guarantees with some life insurance companies or some other plans we've done that have some guarantees. Of course, you have to look at those companies and based on the claim paying ability of those companies. But he had enough planning set in place with some guarantees that he was able to go buy his new Corvette. And he actually went right to the manufacturer. He actually, I don't know, Bowling Green or somewhere. I don't know where it is. But yeah, sent me pictures of it. And Glenn, I got my one. I ordered it. And, I'll never forget looking on my calendar, and my assistant had put on the calendar that the client's coming by to take me for a ride in his new Corvette.
I love that.
Totally cool. Now, I'm not saying it didn't scare me a little bit, okay? Doing on a little back road, and he just kind of laid into the gas pedal, wheel spun a little bit. But man, what an opportunity to bless him and just to share how excited he was after all these years of hard work to go buy that darn Corvette. And it's pretty exciting.
I love that. That's a great story for sure. Well, you mentioned people bringing in their statements and also trying to gather that information. I think that's another hesitation. Sometimes a lot of folks have a financial junk drawer, right? We all have that junk drawer at home. I can picture mine. It's in the kitchen. I'm sure you have one at your house as well, right?
Sure.
But sometimes people are treating their financial life that way, and they may not even know what they have or where those accounts are. Talk me through, if someone comes in and they're in that situation, how are you able to help them gather everything?
I just say bring in the pile. The pile's there. Just grab every statement that you have. I don't care if it's new, old, whatever it is. Just bring in the pile with you. Let's evaluate it. Let's go through it. And if I have even an old statement, we'll even make a phone call to that custodian or that insurance company, and we'll say, hey, look, can we have an updated statement? Could you email it to us? So I help the clients put together everything that they currently have. If they work with me or not, by the time we're done over a 2 or 3 meeting process, they'll know what type of annuity they have, if it offers income guarantees or long-term care, what that life insurance policy offers and how long it's going to last, and where their portfolios are invested. What are the fees in the portfolios? Like, we share everything with the client as full transparency. And what clients love is by the time they're done, they're better educated and they feel more comfortable. And then when you work with us, everything is put together in a nice financial plan, and you don't have to run everywhere and look in different drawers. It's all put right there together for you. So that's what clients love about us. But yeah, bring the pile of stuff with you. You're going to forget some things. Usually we meet a few times. No worries. We'll find the other stuff later. I had a client the other day came in. She's like, oh my gosh, Glenn, I had this money over here at this bank. I completely forgot about it. What am I going to do with it? I'm like, okay, well, the interest rate's pretty good on that. You know, leave it there. Really? Like, yes, that's a pretty good interest rate. If you need the money short term, leave it there. So we're here to serve folks. Yeah, it's such a fun job. It's a great job.
I love that so much. You know, I often joke that the pile of stuff or the pile of statements, the POS, if you will,
Yes,
right?
yes.
No, but that's not a plan, right? That's
No.
the difference. Those statements represent the accounts, which of course are an important part of the plan, but that's not the actual plan itself.
Exactly. True.
Yeah, for
Yep.
sure.
Yep.
Well, if you're watching and you are going, yep, I've got that financial junk drawer. Yep, I need some help gathering all my stuff. I want to have Glenn and the team of Big Financial help me put together a solid written financial plan. Today is the day. We invite you to pick up the phone and call 888-503-7408 to claim your complimentary written financial plan. Or again, you're also welcome to scan that QR code and that will get you connected as well. We'll be back with more on The Big Money Show right after this.
Good morning, Ben.
Good morning, Ben. Hey, birthday party for Carol and 5. Happy birthday to you.
Good morning, Ben. Happy Monday.
Daryl's birthday, be there every square. Happy birthday to you. As you can see from our quarterly report on slide number 62, we're trending in the right direction. All signs point to a very positive outlook for the next several years. If you peel back the onion...
Ben, do you have anything to add?
The work never seems to end until the day it finally does. Call today to get your free written financial plan so you may live every day to the fullest and enjoy the retirement of your dreams.
Well, welcome back to The Big Money Show, where today we are discussing building a solid income plan for your retirement. I'm Kristen Oakley here with Glenn Cummings. And Glenn, you mentioned before the last break, you talked about how when folks come in for the first time and meet with you to receive their complimentary written financial plan, they're going to be able to go home and review lots of different things. I know a lot of the value that you are able to provide is the reports that you give folks. Talk
Absolutely.
a little bit about some of that information and what someone can expect when they come in to meet with you.
Wow. It's just very, very simple stuff to understand. Of course, you need us to kind of walk you through it a little bit, but Morningstar is one of the greatest organizations that can kind of rate fund managers, you know, Morningstar ratings from a 1-star to 5-star. You know, those Morningstar reports also can show histories of performance based on what you're invested in, right? What the interior fees are. A lot of people have literally no idea how much fees they're paying inside of their portfolio. So if you bring in a statement to us and we simply run an analysis on this, you're going to be blown away. You are going to be blown away because it's going to kind of open up, hey, here's what I'm invested in. And this may not be the right place to put my money, or this may be the best place to put my money. But a lot of times people also don't realize that we can also evaluate their life insurance and annuity contracts as well. So we can also do reports on those. So, but yeah, it's a lot of stuff to take home and read. What I always recommend, folks, is after you meet with us and we give you one of these nice reports, take it home, have a highlighter, you know, highlight the areas you have some questions about. As I mentioned, we meet a few times. So come back in, bring that with you, and let's go ahead and answer all those questions. But you're going to be blown away with these reports that we're able to generate for folks. You're going to be blown away. Matter of fact, I had a client the other day that after she got my report, She went to her current advisor, and he was in shock. He had no idea
Wow.
the fees that were within the funds that he was selling the client. She says, "Oh, can you tell me about the 12B1 fee in this fund?" He's like, he had no idea, right?
Yeah.
So in a lot of cases, we can uncover what's out there. We can make sure you're in the best, the best stuff, or the least fees, least risk.
Yep.
And that Morningstar report's very powerful.
It really shows a lot. I know the first time I had one run on our investments, I was even already in this industry, and I had no idea of some of these things, right? It really is so detailed and really goes through in depth what you have and where, as you said, some improvements could be made to make your situation even better.
Yeah, this one client, when she came in, she had no idea that the majority of her investments were in countries that weren't even the United States, and that bothered her a little bit, She says, "I really like our domestic stocks here in the United States. Why am I in all this overseas stuff?" Was unaware of it. Why am I invested in these companies that I really don't like, that I don't support,
Yep.
So, like I said before, it's kind of an eye-opening experience, and that second opinion is very, very important.
Yes. Well, I know, too quickly, I only have a couple minutes left, but you also are able to run Social Security optimization reports and also looking at people's potential tax bills in retirement. So touch on those briefly, if you will.
Yes. So Social Security, when to take it, when's the best time? There's so much involved in that. We call it a Social Security report or an analysis that we can do for every single person that comes in. And also the taxation on your Social Security is something that really, really bothers a lot of people as well. You have this Social Security coming in, and all of a sudden you're being heavily taxed on it based on income you're taking from, say, your investments or your required minimum distributions.
Yep.
So those are areas we can look over and say, hey, maybe we could tweak this or tweak that, and this will reduce that tax problem.
Right.
And it's something pretty awesome.
Because so many folks aren't even aware, when Social Security first came out, it wasn't supposed to be taxed at all, but in today's environment, it could be that up to 85% of your Social Security benefit. That's a huge amount.
It's
could
a
be
big
taxed.
problem.
Yeah.
It's a big problem.
It is.
But a lot of people that come in to sit down with me have no idea why they're being taxed so much, and they're frustrated, and their current advisors aren't helping them at all. Oh, this is just the way it is. Oh, just pay the taxes. You make a lot of money.
Right. It's a good problem to have.
It's a good problem to have. No. We don't like to hear that from clients. We
Right.
want to show alternatives. Now, you can keep going with the rate or the roll of the mill. Everybody's showing you what you need to show, or you can go with something that's going to help benefit them and show them a different plan or an idea.
Absolutely. I know you're all about helping people pay the least amount to the IRS that they are legally required to pay, right?
Absolutely. Absolutely. The least you have to pay, the better.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
For sure. Well, because that means you get to keep more of your hard-earned money. At the end of the day, that's what it's all about.
Absolutely, Kristen. Absolutely.
Good. Well, Glenn, thank you so much for sharing your wealth of wisdom. I'm excited for more folks to connect with you to be able to come in and start this retirement income planning process.
Me as well. Thank you.
Well, good. Well, if you're out there and you are saying, yes, that's me, I need to have my solid retirement income plan built, we encourage you to pick up the phone and call 888-503-7408. Again, it's completely complimentary to you. Maybe you don't know what you're currently invested in. Do you know how much you're paying in fees? What risk you're kind of taking? Today's the day to find out. Thanks so much for joining us, and we look forward to being back with you next time here on The Big Money Show.